Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is my second foiling video. If you haven't seen the first one, it's the Halloween one before this. And this, I honestly have done this card like 5 times. I've made 2 cards, but I have foiled this image 5 times. It drove me nuts. The first couple times with the card that I really hated, what am I trying to say? The filming was so dark, the lighting was so dark that I really wasn't happy. So I basically started again. So this is Spellbinders. I nearly said something else there. This is Spellbinders Reindeer games. It's like a, what do I want to say? It's like a typography, is that the right word, where it's got loads of different words and it sort of makes up this one image, and it's stunning. I love it, love it, love it, love it. I also don't have to remember all the reindeer names now, which is a bonus because I'm getting older. But I'm using my Gemini foil press, and this particular one took me 3 goes to get right, so I won't bore you with all 3 of them. I will show you this first bit and then how it doesn't quite foil enough. So if you can see where the green light is in the bottom left, where the timer on the machine is, I didn't do it. I eventually went up to the middle one, which is like the medium setting for the temperature of the machine, and then the timer is how long you leave the plate on there before you foil it. So in the end, this one took me on the medium setting, and obviously had to wait for that to heat up. I then did it at 45 seconds, and you can see here it doesn't foil completely, and I wasn't happy with that. So although if I was doing like a more distressed kind of card, it would have, or project, it would have been perfect because of this sort of slight distressed look. And if you like that, then that's great. But for me, if you're going to foil something, and there is something stunning about this, it's got to be near perfect. Because the foiling part is what makes this awesome. So the reason I'm also cutting the corners off and cutting as close to the I keep calling them dies, they're like the plates, I guess, foiling plates, is because if you've got too much excess, it can overfoil onto your project. And a little bit of overfoiling is fine. You can use a sand eraser just to erase those little bits. But if there's too much, then you kind of you're a bit stuck basically. So this one round, this was the 3rd round of this particular bit of filming. It was perfect, and I was so chuffed when I finally figured it out. So I'm just going to get my foiling machine out of the way, and just be careful it doesn't get like very, very hot, but it gets hot enough that you could burn yourself. So I'm using some waffle flower dies, and I'm using one of the smaller ones. I just found one that fitted around the edges, and you're going to see me faff for a minute while I get my eye in to make sure it's straight, because when I foiled it, although I didn't need to worry because I was going to die cut it out anyway, I needed to kind of line it up so it was somewhat straight. And you guys know me, I don't do straight lines very well. So this took me a minute or 2 just to try and line it up. So I was happy enough with it, but it's fine. It worked out fine. And just something to note, when you're sticking like that with the dies, when you're lining them up to put them into place, just don't put any tape over your foiling. It could destroy it. So just be aware of that. It can damage it. So again, with the pattern paper, I used the 2nd one in of this waffle flower set. This is the A2 set, and this is just a standard A2 size card, and the paper is from my stash from many years ago, but I believe it's a Dovecraft one from whenever. Sorry, Dovecraft, I can't remember. But I've had it for a few years, and it's so lovely because it's like a vintagey look, and I was so pleased when I did this, and I'm glad that I redid this and did not show you the other video because it was awful. Not only did I have the lighting issue, but I also had the whole it was just awful. It was just the most boring thing you'd ever seen in your life. So I was so chuffed when I redid it. I'm also using an Eco Success punch that I've had for many years, just to add something. And I thought this style, or this border punch in particular, lent itself to sort of a more lacy kind of look, if you know what I mean. So with the whole vintage style of the pattern paper, I thought this worked quite well. Although I've left it on white cardstock, if I'd done this again, and if I had any, I didn't have any, but if I had some creamy coloured cardstock, I think that would have looked even better, because again, with the whole vintage thing. And I also could have inked around the edges with some vintage photo or some antique linen, or you know, one of the distressings that would lend itself to a sort of vintagey vibe. But like I said, this is the 5th time I'd foiled this thing. It was the second time I was making this card. I'd like had enough of this particular one, and this idea that was in my head. So yeah, so there we have it. Anyway, so I love bling, and I love all the little doodads and the sequins and the, you know, all the embellishments and the ribbon and all that stuff. I never know what to do with it, so excuse me, I just wing it most of the time, and I'm never really happy with how those things sit on the card. But I felt like it needed something, and I think it's the excuse me, I think it's the randomness of the bling that I can't seem to do. It's almost like I have to have it in the corners, or I have to have it in a straight line or something like that. But it was just a bit of added sparkle to it, and I just thought it works somewhat. So, but doing the random, I don't know, maybe I can't do random, and I nearly took them off, but I thought no, leave it. So there you go, guys, look at it, it's so pretty. And this is I think it's called Berry, and it's so pretty, and I love it. And I'm now somewhat addicted to foiling as well. Didn't think I'd get into it because I like the cutesy kind of stuff, as you guys know, but I'm in love with it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.